Sitting in the Caymans. We'll wait till somebody shows up, and then we'll start the chat. But yeah, we're going to recap Mississippi River Classic Bass Champions Tour Lacrosse, run down the practice, the tournament, the good, the bad, the ugly, the unexplainable, the frustrating, the live stream, and so much more. Whew, all right. Yeah, we are here. Just a quick live, HellaBass Live. We are on a Wednesday night. We're vertical. We're on YouTube only tonight. Wasn't sure I was going to go live, but here we are. We will we'll cover things. What's up, Michael Bradley? And break it down for you. And I just thought we'll do it quick from the garage, from the Slamus, and give people the rundown. What's up, DK? A little rich. Sorry for the late announcement, but half the fam went to Home Depot to get some paint samples. I was like, well, I'll take a shower, or I'll do the live before I shower and call it a night. Let me know how the audio is here in the garage. Make sure you can hear me okay. But yes, the Lacrosse Champions Tour. So it goes off limits for like 10 days or 2 weeks. So went off limits on like the 17th of June. I did not go down in pre-practice, which is probably fine because the water came up significantly over that time. And so practice started on Friday. Is that the 26th? I had intentions of getting up real early and getting down there on the 26th to get a full day of practice on Friday. Work had other plans. I ended up, after I fished the Waconia tournament the weekend before, which was actually on a Monday, I flew out. Basically, when I got home from Waconia, had to spend some time with the fam, plugged the charger in, didn't touch the boat, packed, and went to Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Was supposed to get home 9 p.m. to Minneapolis. Turns out we didn't leave Baltimore airport because of weather and a bunch of other things until like midnight Eastern time. So I think I got home 3 a.m. on Friday when practice was supposed to start at sunrise. And it's a 2.5 hour drive. And the boat wasn't ready. And it wasn't packed for the trip. So it was all due to weather. Like, we were delayed. Long story short, I sat on the plane for 4 hours before we even took off. So I got to spend like 6 or 7 hours in a Delta seat on a window, which was less than ideal. But it was weather, and then it was refueling, and then it was the crew timed out, and then it was still waiting for other planes. It was a catastrophe. So long story short, I didn't get on the water till about 1 p.m. So I lost half a day of practice on Friday. My Friday, I kind of stuck close to the Black River and the ramp in the downtown La Crosse area intentionally, because with Classic Bass, there's a lake split, and you don't know how it's going to divvy up. And so having something close to the ramp and understanding that, and I wanted to check the Black River spillway to make sure that wasn't going to be a place where if you had a good boat draw, it would be an easy solid half. So that was the first half on Friday. Stayed at Kevin Rue's house, my buddy, local also in the tournament. Saturday, got a full day in. Actually found some fish that I was very excited about where I ended up starting the tournament. And there was this dead-end creek at the back of a lake that you had to go way, way back into in this little beaver channel. And in the back of it, it was running clear. It was like spilling creeks in and spilling over a beaver hut in like 5 or 6 places. And the water was clear, and it was pushing the mud, what dirty water was in there out and down, and you could see the bass swimming around. And I caught a few 3-pounders and saw some other fish, and you could throw your frog right up where that water was running in, and there'd be fish sitting there just waiting to It was pretty epic. I could have had some fun, could have made a pretty sweet video, but caught a couple, shook a couple, kind of looked around, got out of there. Definitely felt like that was an area where you could have a really big half. And yeah. Then went to Lawrence Lake after that. That was pretty terrible. So really, I also checked the spillway up at Round Lake. Caught some fish on there. Caught some fish a few other places, but it was really not that productive outside of that one little spot in the back of Target Lake, which probably will almost never play unless you have a weird water event like this. Yeah, so that's the other thing. The water was coming up. The water came up like 2.5 feet from Friday till the tournament time on the Mississippi River. Sunday, got pushed off by storms. My truck was acting up when I was changing ramps. It seemed like it was shifting funny. So I went to Walmart and got some transmission additive and so I lost a half a day of practice on Sunday trying to take care of some stuff on the boat and the truck, which I wish I would have had those extra, 4 or 5 hours on Sunday to look at more water in the bottom of the pool. But I did find some fish in the morning that I thought were good. It was all largemouth based. So my practice was really, I checked a little bit of main river stuff, but that was more stuff where I was looking like, if I need to stop back towards the ramp or at the end of the half to kill some time to be closer to the ramp and maximize fishing time and get in, to get a bite or two. My practice was really focused on finding groups of largemouth, shallow, mats, frogfish, swim jig fish, things like that. I didn't really want, I thought other people new to the river would, fish for the main river smallmouth stuff. I thought with the river coming up and being muddy, that stuff wouldn't play as well. And I really thought being in the backwaters where you could find the clean water, even though where there'd be mud coming in, but where it would filter out, it would really wad up those largemouth. And that's where you could find really big pods of fish, is where you'd find like the clean water on the bottom of a grass area where it'd be filtered out and all the fish in the area would have to gravitate to there and want to be there. So that was my strategy for the practice of this tournament. And Monday, I checked the spillways. I went back to that spot in Target Lake. I wanted to make sure it didn't get blown out with the storm on Sunday. It was still looking really clean in there. The little creeks and dams were still running clear. I shook 6 or 8 fish off. They were hungry. I was feeling good, hoping for a good boat draw. And then spent the rest of the day hopping around looking for some other stuff. Didn't find a whole lot, but I felt like they were either going to split it west and east or they were going to do a north and a south. Either way, I felt that spot in Target Lake was going to be either west or north. And so I spent time and it really, I didn't have a ton, to be honest, coming out of practice. I had that one area that I felt really, really good about. And then I thought if I could get in there and have a good period, I had enough other stuff to survive and hold on. I'll get to that here in a second, LP bass. So got my stuff partially rigged on Sunday, rigged up Monday night. We go to the meeting. I draw boat 20, which made me feel pretty good that, being in the top third of the field, that I had a good chance of getting to that spot. So I rigged accordingly, was ready to go. Was the first one coming out of the West Channel. I elected not to run a small, narrow cut going in. I went around. That probably added 30 seconds to getting in there. Jim Moyna, I think, was like 6 boats behind me. And he beat me in, got ahead of me. And then this is the classic bass has a 55 mile an hour speed limit for the safety of the marshals and the anglers and all that kind of stuff, which is, and for the river with the high water and the logs and floating, it was, definitely a good thing. And so there was no way for me to try to boat race him once he was in front of me. So he got ahead of me, which I had to let him go then. And then I had to make a decision. Do I follow him all the way in there and split the water in the back? Or do I stop short and fish my way in and then hopefully let things kind of settle out? Because I did catch some fish going in there. And I thought, there was clean water coming in the back of the lake, and I thought fish all over Target Lake would pull to the mouth and just kind of keep going back in there, because there was a lot of bait. There was bluegills and shiners and shad and crappie and everything the bass would want. And then as I was pulling off to the side, it dawned on me that was a mistake, because I didn't stay in the cut where I could manage it. I pulled off so I could reach a hard line of reeds, and Arnold Helgerson came in and went in there as well. So now there was 2 boats in there. Now I'm really got to just fish slow outside. So fishing slow outside, not that long after that, Arnold Helgerson comes back out. And, based on Score Tracker, neither one of them had a fish. So they either weren't catching them, or they couldn't get signal enough to enter their fish. And it seemed like it wasn't that hard to get a signal there. We weren't that far from the Crosse, so I was thinking that they're not catching them, which is like weird. And I was like, well, I still felt like I had to go back in there and see it for myself. And so I went back in there after Arnold idled out, fished a little faster in there. At this point, I don't have a fish. And I see Jim's on the left side where there's a big tree, and I was like, I wanted to go in this right pocket where there was more creeks and there was more fish concentrated. And I thought, is there some possible way that they missed these little inlets way in the back and they didn't go far enough back in? But I could see that some of the grass had got chopped up in the pocket and it was floating out. And so I hurried, get to the mouth of the pocket, and then slow down. I want to make sure that like Jim wasn't going to zoom back out of that arm and cut me off, which he would have every right to do. But I want to make sure I got up there. So I fished, like, just kind of put it on high. And family's home from Home Depot already. But I get in there and fish real slow and methodically, not getting the bite. And I get right up and nose into where, like, the water's coming in, where it should be a sure thing, and make a couple really good presentations with the frog in there, and nothing. And I'm like, oof, why? But I still can't. The water was a little dingier in there, but it wasn't dirty. And I couldn't figure out why nobody's getting a bite. And still baffles me why nobody was catching them in there. It was definitely clean enough. It looked good. You want to come on camera and be live, Riley? No? Did you guys have a Home Depot trip? Paint samples in hand. Very creamy colors. So I'm still baffled. It turns out that I think Jim got 1 fish on his way out. And then somebody came in there later and caught a couple dinks. So I don't know why it didn't pan out, but it didn't pan out for everybody. But by stopping short, I definitely probably wasted more time than I needed to. I probably could have eliminated it faster. So that, I guess, is a little bit of a regret there. And then I came back out and got around the corner in Target Lake, where I had also got some bites, to see if they had repositioned out there, and still caught nothing. By that time, I've now have a classic bass camera person in my boat, because they had kind of pre-assigned some people to have some camera people in the tournament. And ran some stuff on the main river. It was pretty muddy. Some chatterbait stuff where I caught some largemouth and smallies. That didn't go. Swung around, fished some riprap, going up behind Pettibone. Thought I'd catch some multi. I did have one good bite on a tube there where it swam out, and I set, and it like pulled off. I didn't see it. Could have been a 10-incher. Could have been a 2-pounder. Could have been a drum. Could have been a pike. I don't know. But that felt like a decent bite that I missed. We're getting to the point where it's like a little over an hour left in the period, and I got no fish. But I'm like, there's like 20 anglers that hadn't caught a fish by that point. And I want to say, with an hour left, the check weight, 17th was like 8 pounds. So it's like, if you can make something happen here, so I go back and hit some of this stuff where I had, onesie, twosie bites, kind of rocky current stuff, bridges, little current swing, stuff like that, culverts. The first one I pull up to, I thought I missed a bite right away. And by this time, the stream has died. So yeah, and if you missed it, I was live streaming this whole thing. looking back on the live stream replay, using the remote mic and the GoPro mod, the audio was really good. The stream looked great. The Starlink Mini mobile was working great. Just the fish catching wasn't working great. But the GoPro eventually, 2.5 hours in, overheated. So none of the fish catches showed up on stream. But I think those that tuned in, it was going pretty good. So the first current spot I pull up to, I feel like I miss a bite. Like I throw in this pocket. I feel like, and I don't know, could have been a little one. And then I kind of make another couple casts, and I get around the next corner, and I cast, and the line swims out, and I hook up, swing a smallmouth from the boat. It's like a 2-pounder, 2-1, and it falls off on the boat swing. So 2-minute penalty. But I got a fish in the boat. Like the ice is broken. I think I jumped up to like 40th place with one fish catch from dead last, 67th or whatever, 65th. And served the penalty. There was another boat coming down the shoreline. So I kind of got out of that area instead of trying to milk it out. I made a few more casts, got out of there, ran to a bridge. Almost immediately, one of the first few casts there, I catch another 2-pound smallie. Swing it in, falls on the floor. Another 2-minute penalty. Very next cast after serving the penalty, throw in there. Catch what looks to be close to a keeper. Falls on the floor. Penalty. Weigh it. It's only 14 or 15 ounces. Just misses. Had to be a 1-pound minimum. What did you think of the video and the audio of the non-catching, Ryan? Like, do you think the production quality was good even though the fishing quality was bad? I'd like to hear in the comments for the people that watched it what they thought of it. So I get another fish. So I got 2 now for like 4 and change. I've moved up even further. I fish around there and I catch a couple more shorts. My line gets broken. I don't know if I got bit off or I got caught on the steel on the bridge, but there was a couple mishaps where I caught a couple shorts and broke my line, got sawed off. I don't know. They might not have been keepers. Nothing. I didn't lose anything that I saw, but it's kind of a little bit of a catastrophe. They're going through some stupid tubes, and I only rigged 2 stupid tubes. It went through like several and kept on re-rigging them, which cost me some time. I didn't think I was going to be fishing the stupid tube that much. It was more of a backup rod. In hindsight, I wish I would have had more rigged. What do I think of the 2-minute penalty rule, Kyle? I mean, they're trying fish care. They don't want the fish flopping around. I don't mind it. It adds a little bit of excitement and drama. So I don't really have a problem with it. It's frustrating when it happens. I mean, you're not, what they're trying to avoid, right, is people swinging the fish in the boat and just plopping it down right here in the low part of the boat and just letting the fish beat itself to death, right? I'm trying to like catch it, and if something goes wrong, it falls off, right? But there's a lot of people that like the fish are hooked plenty fine, swing it in, and they just dump it in the bottom because that's the most efficient way, right? And that's what they're trying to avoid, which makes sense. So spend a little more time there. With like 30 minutes to go, I run to another spot, and I catch a short, and some of these, like when they're really, really short, like I can tell for sure they're not a pound, I would only rig them up to the gunnel and I would unhook them outside of the boat. So there was no chance. Because if you drop a short fish in the boat, it's still a penalty. Yes, all competitors were limited to 55. And the marshals are supposed to be watching the speed limit. So we all have marshals. And that's a normal rule. That wasn't just a Mississippi River rule. That's every tournament. Mike Buka's bullgill. The little one? This one? My opinion is that's cool, but I haven't fished it, really. I haven't taken it out of the package. But I like Buka's stuff in general. The 15-minute penalty rule is Bush League. What's that? Which one are you talking about? So, yeah, I get over there. I catch a short or two on this little like culvert pipe thing. And then I hook up on another good fish, and it's a largemouth. I swing it in. And like I had it hanging there, and I just could not get my hand in its mouth, and it finally falls off. And I take another penalty on a 2-3, 2-2 largemouth. So I get my third fish, but then I'm sitting again with time clicking. So finish that penalty, maybe catch another short, make another cast, and hook up on even a better fish. It's a nice smallie, and I swing that in, and I got it like right there, and I'm holding the line trying to get my hand in its mouth, and my line breaks, and the fish hits the floor. And I take another penalty, but it was like a 3-4 smallie, which was my biggest fish of the half. And I still like serve that penalty. And when that penalty is done, I still have like, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 6 minutes to fish before I got to like make it to, because we have to be in by 11 when there was like a 8 or 9 minute slow wake zone. So I was trying to like push it to the very last minute, and maybe I caught one more short, but that ended the period. I ended with like 4 fish for 9 pounds, and I went from being dead last to 19th place at the end of the first half. And I was like 12 ounces out of 17th to check. So I was basically 1 scoreable bass out of the check. So salvaged the period, kept myself, like the lead was only 21 pounds. So I was 12 pounds out of the lead. So, if I could have gotten out of that area earlier in the morning, I probably could have caught a couple more fish and been even more in the mix. So we re-rig, eat some food at the halftime, park under the bridge in the shade with a spot lock, and yeah, kind of regrouping, rehydrating, drink a Red Bull, drink some water, eat some food, fix my rods. Yeah, I mean, it's the same for everybody, John. So I guess that's I don't have a big problem with it. I'm not blaming, like the first 2 fell off in the short, but 2 or 3 of the penalties, I was just like so jacked up trying to like friendly get a hold of them that I like made it worse and made them fall off. You saw how many fish I swung in on the Vermilion video. I think I only had two penalties all day on 73 fish plus whatever, right? And I took 5 penalties on 4 scoreable fish in the first half. Pretty crazy. So going into the next period, I'm feeling good that I salvaged the period, but I'm also a little bit concerned because I don't have a ton of stuff. And in the morning, my largemouth stuff absolutely was a no-go dead zone. And I'm concerned that potentially that my second half largemouth have done the same thing, right? So I'm not paying attention when they're calling boat numbers because I'm setting up the live stream for the second half, and I missed my spot, so they pushed me to the back. So instead of being like 20th from the back of the line, I went all the way to the back. So I fell 20 spots in taking off. So that probably cost me like 3 minutes, whatever. And so we're running down, so we're starting the live stream, and I think going through the no wake zone, I must have bumped the app in my pocket and turned it off on the phone. So I restarted again in the slow wake zone. And then we're running down the river. And so because it overheated in the first half, most of the time GoPro say that the battery is part of the reason, or a big reason why they go overheat. And so I took the battery out and just ran it direct from the plug-in power into the GoPro mod. And when we were running down the river, crossing everybody, right, there's basically a single file line because everybody has to go, I don't know, let's call it 5 miles south to get to where we're in the new fishing zone. That it's basically 65 boats in a row, and I'm running over 65 boat wakes in a row, being the last boat out at 55 miles an hour. And the power support not being completely like solid, it's just resting behind my windshield. The cord popped out and it killed the stream because there was no battery backup. So, and at that point, I wasn't willing to restart it again during fishing time. I didn't really target or practice sand drops much at all. I like to fish sand drops, but I usually don't really start thinking about sand drops until August, September. But clearly, that was probably a mistake. So I peel off like not far into the zone because I had this like wing dam spot, tree, current break that I caught a couple fish on that chatterbait. Well, the water was moving way faster now. Like, the chatterbait didn't seem to be the deal, but I got in tight to like the wood and started flipping a tube, and I caught 2 out of there and a couple shorts. So I got 2 fish right away. They were both 1-somethings. The first fish kept me right at like 19th or 20th. The second fish got me in the check range. Tried to milk another fish out of there. Got out of there. Made a pretty long run up above Stoddard to fish some largemouth stuff where I thought I had some current and some good mats with clean water. It definitely looked a little different when I got there. So I fished quickly through it. And I pushed up even further because that's where the clean water seemed to be, and just never got a bite. Not even a pike. No. Tried a frog, tried a swim jig, tried a flappy frog, tried to relocate him back there. No fish. Tried to hit a couple current spots coming back down that chute that I hadn't fished this time. I had fished in years past. No bites. Tucked into the Stoddard box for a little bit where I had shooken off a couple fish on a frog. Had one super lazy blow up. I should say in the morning in that first pocket, I had one super lazy little swipe at a frog. So, but I did catch a largemouth coming down the top of Stoddard on a swim jig. Never got another bite there. Hopped out, hit some current points, little rock jetties that were kind of similar to what I was fishing where I caught those fish. Didn't get any bites. I tried a another rock current spot at the bottom of the lake that had been good to me in the past for smallmouth, but I hadn't fished this week because it really wasn't part of my game plan. Nothing there. Then I had to decide whether I wanted to run up to the tree wing dam thing or go into Stoddard. And I was like, well, I don't want to go back. I mean, like, so far, none of my largemouth has pined out, so I bailed on Stoddard. And then I tried to finish up on some current stuff at the top of the river. I think I caught one more short and stopped on some cut bank as close to the cutoff as I could, fished to the final minute, and ended the period with 3 fish. It was, I am not your glide bait tip guy. I like to dabble with the glide baits, but it's been pretty hit or miss for me. Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the guys that made their hay in the second half end up fishing sand drops in Goose Island, and I did not practice enough in Goose Island with the shortened practice time. So that was a miss on me. I thought in my head, the way Goose sets up and when the water rises, right, those fish to me would move more. I thought it'd be easier to keep track of them on the flats where they would push into different mats and just follow the clean water, but that was a miscalculation on my point. I would say probably work it faster when they're following it, Colton. Get more erratic, work it faster. try to keep it away from them and see if they'll commit. I was throwing for a tube that you can get off the shelf. This one's kind of chewed up. The X Zone 3.75 inch is a nice thin wall tube that works well with AJ's head. I can buy them at Omnia. They're relatively inexpensive. They work well. They don't ball up on the hook. They have really good hookups on them. So, no sponsor. I pay for my Omnia other than my discount code. Sand drops, it kind of depends on the mood of the fish and the time of the year. A topwater. I know, Travis, you hate topwaters, but like a spook, walking bait, vixen, a popper, swim jigs, chatterbaits. You can drag tubes, you drag Carolina rigs. Those are probably the top 5 or 6 baits that are most popular on sand drops. You could probably definitely Ned and drop shot and that kind of stuff too. Yeah, fishing channel, welcome. Is the duckweed good up there? So we had a media shoot on Monday afternoon after practice was over on Alaska. That duckweed looked really good for what little time I spent. Kind of we launched at Schaefer's Landing. Duckweed looked really good back there. The duckweed on 8 did not look that good, but by the time you get there, it's probably going to look good. Like a lot of the grass seemed like in pool 8, like the pondweed was dying or was dying off and it created a slime. But with all the current and water coming through, I would imagine by the time you get there, the duckweed is going to be good and it's going to be on fire, Ryan. The best for bass fishing? I mean, if I was going to say a new person getting into fishing, 2 baits, a chatterbait and a Senko. Yeah. The sand drops shallow on top and they drop deep water on the backs on the down current side. And a lot of times you want flow over the top of them, but a lot of times the best ones get to like 6 inches or a foot and then they fall off, or maybe 2 feet. Yeah, don't try to keep your lower unit, Ryan. What's up, Cam? So, yeah. 3 fish in the second half didn't cut it. Most people caught them better in the second half. Fell to 42nd out of 65. No bueno. My whole plan was to have 2 strong tournaments. Vermilion and I had accomplished that. I wanted to be sitting really good in points, so I didn't have to fish Lahamadu hard because I have our state Bass Nation tournament. Like the practice overlaps for the Champions Tour on Lahamadu and the Bass Nation on Winona. So they're probably 4 hours apart in distance. Like 2 hours one way from home and 2 hours the other way from home. And yeah, their practice basically almost 100% overlaps. And then the Classic Bass Champions Tour is on the off day of the state tournament. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if you make the cut for the Bass Nation. So the tournament days don't overlap, but the practices completely overlap, and they're 4 hours apart. So I was hoping to be well into the points where I just had to go out and catch a few fish on Lahamadu to make the TOC. And now I feel like I think I'm going to break down these waters because they both have off limits where you can't be on them for a while. So plus I have a work trip coming up that butts up to it as well. So a lot of things to figure out here. It's not I don't think it's flooding that hard where the new sand is going to get really moved around. Champions, Classic Bass Champions Tour on the Crosse. Cam. So what's up, Jennifer? Yeah, that's kind of lacrosse. Kevin, my buddy, he got second. He made a big comeback in the second half. Got within 5 pounds. So 2 bites basically winning the tournament. So kudos to him. It was won by young. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Sorry. Getting old sucks, forgetting things. He won a tournament on Lahamadu last time. I don't know, escapes me right now. I enjoy bass fishing more, but crappie fishing can also be fun, Cam. Crampets. Yeah, Walter Crampets. Walker Crampets. He has a very old person sounding name for a young, talented angler. Other things to talk about. I might sign up for the Panaprog tournament on a lake by my house on a tiny little lake, which would be July 12th. Might get to do some bassing on July 4th, going down to a buddy's lake, Pat, who you've seen in the videos. I don't know if I'm going to take the cameras or not, or just go fun fishing and hang out with the fam. We'll see. So July 12th, I might fish a small tournament, and then it'll be kind of maybe getting out pre-scout in the river in preparation for the Bass Nation. Might do some lives on the weekends, do some content. They did announce, I did read on social media today, that Minnesota has got rid of their no bass season. So we should be able to at least target bass catch and release year round now, even when the harvest season is not open. So that's exciting. So expect earlier and more bass fishing content in Minnesota next year. Don't need to go to Iowa or South Dakota or Wisconsin to go early bass fishing or the river. What's up, Patrick? We're talking about Dustin Taylor, or are you talking about Daniel? Yeah, I don't have the non-subscriber chat turned off today. I have never pulled my kids in any of my bass boats because I'm a grumpy old man that likes to go fishing in his boat. They have jet skis down there if we're going to go goof around on the lake. Yeah. So, maybe some early season lives catching some pre-spawn Minnesota bass for the first time next spring. So rejoice, spread the word if you live in Minnesota. Yeah, they're getting rid of the closed bass season. They said DNR will be announcing the details of when the season will open for harvest, but there is no closed season anymore. So it'll be catch and release or harvest season for bass, like Wisconsin. Yeah, for sure. So can't wait to go after bass with full-size baits with intent, guilt-free on some of our local lakes, and possibly target some really big, heavy, dumb bass right after ice out. I've never fished in California. I've fished in Arizona and the Snake or the Columbia River right on the Washington-Oregon border. That's the closest I've been to California, fishing-wise. But, yeah, otherwise, got some stuff done around the house today. Actually worked today. Work tomorrow, and then the fourth weekend, get out, maybe start looking at Lake Marion for the Panaprog. You got big dumb bass out there. I always thought California bass were pressured, from what I heard. I did get some stuff from Arsenal. Looks like they're coming out with a new mesh bag that will be on the website soon. If you want a mesh bag storage option for carrying certain things in the boat, soft plastics, other gear. So they've had their plastic bags, like the Legacy bags and the Battalion bags, right? Like the frosted bigger bags, or these bags that you've seen in my, right, where I keep a ton of my stuff in, right, in these bags in my boat. Now they've got maybe a mesh bag option. Got some more sun gloves, so I got more time to wash the ones that smell like pike. And then they've got kind of a new little micro cloth in a little bag with a little carabiner on it. So if you want to wipe your hands off, wipe your screens, just keep things dry in the boat, they came out with a, you can kind of see there's an Arsenal logo in it, so a new micro towel. So those are all things coming, sneak peek coming to the Arsenal website soon. Kind of interesting. The Owens River High Sierras. No, never heard of that. Yeah, we can shake full-size Sakamata shads in the spring now. I have no idea what is good for carp fishing. I think dough balls and corn. So, yeah, a couple new things from Arsenal. Be organizing the boat. But otherwise, yeah, that was kind of the recap. I wasn't even sure I was going to do a live tonight, but wanted to hop on. Glad a bunch of people jumped on. Get out. Be safe. If you're going to go outside fishing, be careful of the pleasure recreational boat. There's a lot of people that will be out that aren't the most experienced boaters that maybe get out just a handful of times a year. They might not be completely sober. So be careful when you're out enjoying the outdoors this weekend. Yeah, be responsible, but still get out and enjoy. Celebrate this great country's independence. If you're doing fireworks, please come back with all your hands and fingers. What's up, Tom? Busy day? Hopefully all is well for you, Tom. Yeah, it's always good to talk through it and kind of hash it out. And then we can put the bad tournament behind us and get back on a good streak. It's kind of therapeutic, whether it's the video or talking about it on live. I mean, unless your name's Jacob Wheeler or Kevin Van Dam or Drew Gill, everybody has bad tournaments. Biggest bass I've caught, 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Lake Amistad, Texas. Can't think much else going on. But yeah, I'm going to try to slam out the Waconia video, which was a good tournament, a 3rd place finish, a nice check. So we'll try to get that pushed out for Monday. So when you finish up the holiday weekend, be a nice video waiting for you Monday after work or whatever you're doing this weekend. And if I get it done early enough, I'll push it out for the members only like I normally do. How big was my first bass? I don't know. I was so young. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. No, not a divorce, James. Just a bad fishing tournament yesterday. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up. Appreciate everybody that came on tonight. We'll keep it short and sweet. You guys can get to your holiday. Go out and chase your own fish this weekend and be safe out there. As always, here to help you guys catch more big bass and suck less.